Dear compatriots in the eternal intellectual arena, gather round as we dissect and demolish the latest verbal tempest from the mouth of the astrophysical oracle himself, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Dumbest Neil deGrasse Tyson clips I've ever seen, and it shocked me. Like, I know he sometimes says like silly things like, silly liberals, you know. I don't know. He'll every now and then he'll have like a silly ass take and he'll be like, what the Sigma takes every now and then. But this last one I saw on TikTok was insane. He was like, the America I knew would be working in real time to take advantage of these winds, of these hurricanes to basically capture the energy. But we're so silly nowadays in America that we just like look to escape it. That's what he said. Does anyone have that TikTok? We got to watch it. It's awesome. Was that about Milton? No, I don't know if it's about Milton. I think he was just talking about hurricanes in general. He's not trolling? No, he's not. He's not trolling. Where is it? Breaking. Biden says he fully supports Israel's right to defend itself against Iran and its proxies. Oh, dude. Nice. That's the go ahead.
I'm tired of looking at countless thousands of cars exiting a city because a hurricane is coming. Where are the engineers and scientists saying, you know, instead of running away from the city that's about to be destroyed by this hurricane, let me figure out a way to tap this cyclonic energy of this hurricane to drive the power needs of the city that is otherwise going to destroy? Where are those people? You need a culture where that becomes a natural state of how people think, rather than buy toilet paper, buy water, run. That's our current natural state. And I don't think that was the country I grew up in.
I'm serious when I say this is the dumbest thing I've heard this man say ever. It's especially dumber because like it shows the impact of like hurricanes while he's talking over it, and he's like, why are people just like running to grab toilet paper? Like we need to change our attitude about hurricanes in general. This is so clip chimp. You should know better. I mean, someone didn't make this as a own. Sometimes you just miss, okay, don't come for the science guy. That's Austin's fave. Yeah, it's Neil deGrasse Tyson, the science guy. He's trying to be all science fiction, positivity law. I get where he's coming from. You need someone like this to push us forward, right? Yeah. Yeah, he's right. Yeah, he's just doing science fiction positivity. I can't believe human beings are focusing on escaping the devastating natural disaster instead of thinking about how they can harness the energy. Okay. In order for human beings to be able to harness the energy of a devastating natural disaster such as this one, they also need to evolve so that they can somehow survive this environment. You're being super uncharitable with this one. Sorry, I fear I have upset the Neil deGrasse Tyson fans in the chat. Here's a longer version with the proper context. Thank you, Suja. Take a day off for that one. Stay in your lane, politics, man. You have upset us eco nerds, buddy. Dude, in order for us to be able to withstand, or in order for us to be able to even get to the point of thinking about how we harness the energy of hurricanes, we need to first build infrastructure that can withstand hurricanes. We are not even at that stage. Okay? You understand that? We are not at that stage. That is a ridiculous... Oh, God, I'm not... Like, I get the energy of what he's putting out there. Like, wouldn't it be nice if we changed our attitude towards how to deal with these problems?
I should have said, I foresee the day where we have power over nature such that we can tap the energy expressed in Earth functioning as a planet and use it in the service of our needs and the needs of the survival of all life upon it. For example, a hurricane is building in the Atlantic, and it's ready to terrorize the coastline. We somehow dip in there, suck the cyclonic energy from the hurricane, drive the energy needs of the city that would have otherwise been leveled by that hurricane. That is a level of geoengineering that I would foresee to be in our future. Then we would know that we fully understand how Earth...
This is not the same video. This is just him advocating for that position elsewhere.
It is with a mixture of bewilderment and begrudging amusement that I, channeling my inner satirist and resident skeptic, Hasanabi, must descend into this particular intellectual cyclone Tyson hath summoned. Here, we find ourselves grappling with Tyson's rather eccentric proposal, a bacchanalian flight of fancy that in response to hurricanes, humankind should not flee or prepare but instead aspire to harness these monstrous atmospheric maelstroms for energy. Friends, this particular notion is a misadventure so misguided that it begs for a thorough roasting, complete with all the spices of satire and the barbed wit it rightfully deserves. Now let us establish, for posterity and for prudence, the full ridiculousness of Tyson's latest scientific daydream. Tyson, in his Celestial Rhapsody, seems incensed that Americans are so busy scurrying away from impending hurricanes, grabbing water, boarding up windows, hightailing it out of town, that they have neglected the vital task of conjuring up some pseudo-mystical technology to convert the unbridled, cataclysmic energy of the storm into a bounteous fuel for their cities. Oh, the sheer hubris of Tyson's vision. As if we mere mortals should be strapping turbines to storm clouds, converting cyclonic chaos into kilowatt-hours with a nonchalance that only an astrophysicist perched in his ivory tower could muster. To Tyson, it appears absurd that we humans prefer our instinctive fight-or-flight response to disasters over some hypothetical technotopia where we snatch hurricanes by the reins like some kind of meteorological rodeo clowns. But Tyson, dear cosmic philosopher, perhaps the reason we haven't yet achieved this futuristic feat is not for lack of imagination but, dare I say, because of common sense. Harnessing the apocalyptic fury of a hurricane is not merely an engineering challenge, it is a fool's errand bordering on the delusional. Tyson is over here like a modern-day Icarus, advocating we flirt with nature's wrath only to risk a calamitous fall into a vortex of our own creation. And if Tyson's audacious vision didn't provide enough fodder, let us consider the timing of his remarks. He utters this grand pronouncement while devastating footage of hurricanes wreaking havoc on cities rolls across the screen. There is an almost farcical level of disconnect here, as if Tyson believes that in the midst of floods and catastrophic damage, one might still pause to ponder, what if I plugged a power grid directly into that tornado? Tyson, we know you're enamored with the power of nature, but when nature's very rage is scattering homes like leaves in the wind, such whimsical musings are not just out of place, they're downright callous. Let's take a step back, my intellectual compatriots, and scrutinize the feasibility of this dream Tyson peddles. Geoengineering on this scale would require infrastructure so Herculean, so far beyond our current capabilities that we might as well be talking about colonizing Saturn. Tyson would have us believe that one day, as hurricanes gather strength in the Atlantic, we'll have the means to suck the energy from these storms like some kind of cosmically sanctioned Dyson vacuum. This is sci-fi as theology, a utopian fantasy masquerading as viable science. But the crux of Tyson's folly, as Hasanabi so poignantly highlights, lies not merely in the ludicrous impracticality of his vision but in its glaring detachment from reality. Here Tyson is pontificating about manipulating hurricanes while we, the mere plebeians of the real world, haven't even managed to construct flood-resistant infrastructure. Cities are sinking, levees are failing, coastal defenses crumble, and here comes Tyson on his technocratic soapbox urging us to dream bigger. Brother, can we perhaps dream of a future where we simply survive nature's fury unscathed before we talk about bending it to our whims? And, oh, how Tyson's hubris smacks of a near-messianic complex. It's as if he believes that with just a sprinkle of scientific ingenuity, we could reign supreme over nature's might. Tyson, ensconced in his lab of equations and hypotheticals, seems to fancy himself a Zeus of science, hurling his intellectual thunderbolts at hurricanes in a misguided attempt to tame the untamable. But, dear reader, if history has taught us anything, it's that nature has an unsettling habit of humbling even the most brilliant minds. This brings us to the essence of Tyson's misstep. He mistakes scientific optimism for omnipotence. Yes, progress has brought us marvels from nuclear power to the internet, but Tyson fails to grasp that some forces like the raw fury of a hurricane are not so easily subdued. There's an irony here as well. Tyson, who champions science and skepticism, falls prey to the very hubris he should most ardently warn against. He preaches the gospel of human triumph over nature yet ignores the lessons of every Icarian misstep that preceded him. Let us also not overlook the inherent elitism in Tyson's proclamation. It reeks of the disdain of one who has never known the visceral fear of a storm bearing down on their home. This is not the perspective of someone who has battened down the hatches or held their breath as the winds howl outside. No, it is the view of an armchair philosopher who watches the tempest from afar, safely detached, unaware that for most people, survival, not supremacy, is the order of the day. Moreover, Tyson's argument serves as a grim reminder of the divide between theory and practice. While he waxes poetic about technological solutions, real-world innovation is bogged down by bureaucracy, limited resources, and the ever-looming specter of climate change. We cannot magic away hurricanes any more than we can wish away wildfires. Tyson's insistence on this fantasy only highlights his disconnect from the realities facing humanity today. In the end, Tyson's latest pronouncement is emblematic of a particular brand of scientific hubris, a belief that we can master nature before we have even learned to coexist with it. He looks at a hurricane and sees not a force of destruction but a potential power source, a mentality that reveals more about his detachment than his wisdom. Tyson's vision may be grand, but it is also foolish, and in the eyes of Hasanabi and all who are grounded in reality, it is nothing more than a tempest in a teapot. So here we are, left to ponder Tyson's delusion of grandeur, and we are forced to conclude that, despite his vast intellect, the man is ultimately misguided. His dreams of harnessing hurricanes remain just that, dreams, and until he descends from his cloud of scientific arrogance, he will remain as far removed from reality as the eye of the storm itself.